Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Ariana, and the 49ers just blew out the Arizona Cardinals. That game was over before it began, within the first 5 seconds. Sky Moore opened the game with a 98-yard kick return, almost a touchdown. I think what I liked the most about this victory was it was a total team victory. Special teams played phenomenally. I know there was a couple missed extra points, but field goals were good. The kick returns were good. And by the way, the Arizona special teams was horrendous. And then they started slow on defense, and for a while, I think it was like 19-10 for a while with the Cardinals. But the defense, I felt like, really rounded out into shape. And that was with the fact that they had so many injuries, specifically at linebacker. They came into this game on their second and third string linebackers. And then three linebackers went down during the game. Two of them returned. That's Luke Gifford and Curtis Robinson. But I was actually very impressed with especially like in the second half, with their defensive performance. And then on offense, they looked phenomenal. Brock Purdy returned. Now, I don't mean to poo-poo, but I think Mac Jones wins this game. I think I win this game if I'm the quarterback. I think Adrian Martinez would have won this game. I didn't see like a ton of special Brock Purdy plays that were specific to him. But he definitely made some really good throws. The touchdown throw to Kittle was far and down the field, and that looked really excellent. I honestly felt like he was pretty accurate and had good arm strength. The thing that I thought was quote unquote missing from Brock Purdy's game would be he didn't have a ton of mobility. He had maybe 2 or 3 scrambles, which is about how much Mac Jones was scrambling. And I kind of tried to quiet like the way that people had been talking about Brock Purdy's scrambling ability over the last couple of weeks. They've been like, we need to get Brock Purdy back. We need to get him back because he's this elite scrambler. He's an elite scrambler. Talking about Brock Purdy like he's Lamar Jackson. Brock Purdy is like a decent scrambler that like might scramble for a first down every once in a while, and like definitely holds on to the ball a really long time, but will scramble in order to give his wide receivers time to get open. Other quarterbacks like get the ball out quicker, and that's how they kind of make up for an offensive line that's breaking down. Where with Brock Purdy, if his offensive line is breaking down, he'll run, right or left, and then can throw on the run, which is like a great skill to have. But I didn't see a ton of mobility in today's game, and I don't know if that's because even Kyle Shanahan said he's not like 100% yet, and I don't know how mobile you can be running on his turf toe injury. But by the way, I thought Brock Purdy played phenomenal. I'm just kind of recapping like my immediate reactions were I actually thought he was pretty good with the football and his decision making. He had 2 almost interceptions, but aside from that, I felt like had pretty good arm strength on his down the field throws. He had a couple duck balls, which anyone that you've talked to from practice, if you listen to Matt Barrows, Larry Krueger, Grant, all those guys have talked about he can't totally plant on that turf toe yet. And so that's why some of his balls kind of go up and then float down, or, some people will call them duck balls. But like I said, his touchdown throw to Kittle, I thought had good zip on it. And to me, he looked like Purdy. He looked pretty accurate, held the ball for a long time, which he normally does anyways. I saw a little bit less mobility than I was expecting, given the way that people were talking about him as if he was going to come back and just start running RPOs every single play, but he performed really well. I also think he has a really good understanding of this offense. It seemed like the touchdown throw to Christian McCaffrey might have been a situation. If you look at it, George Kittle was actually getting open down below on a crossing route, and Brock Purdy made the smart decision to throw downfield even farther to, George Kittle was doing a crossing route, and then Christian McCaffrey was farther down. And instead of taking kind of the dump off route, Brock Purdy threw it downfield to Christian McCaffrey. So I think that's really good awareness of the offense, and when you can take chances versus when you can't. Although I do think that sometimes Brock takes chances even when you can't. But when you're going against the Cardinals, you definitely can, because they're not going to stop you. I don't know if I said it in the very beginning of the stream, but the score was 41-22, and it could have been 50-10. Like, it was so lopsided from the very beginning. The Cardinals really beat themselves. They actually had as many yards on the ground from their offense as they outgained the 49ers offense by 204 yards. This is a crazy stat, but it didn't matter because they committed 17 is an insane stat. 17 penalties, and that gave the 49ers like 170 yards back. So if you actually look at the quarterback stats, like the 49ers didn't even throw for 300 yards, and they won by 40. But that's because a lot of times they were getting the ball right on their end zone. Like, they had to go, they had to go 10 yards before they scored a touchdown, because Jacoby Brissett was turning the football over. That other guy fumbled right at the goal line. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Let me see what Brock's stats were really quick. Jacoby Brissett literally broke an NFL record. And does that mean that the 49ers defense definitely needs some work? Yes, because that's not good. You don't love to hear that the 49ers defense let Jacoby Brissett throw for so much that he breaks an NFL record. But at the same time, they were so bad it didn't matter. Sorry if I'm a little stuffy. I've been a little bit sick. Okay, Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns, which, just incredible. And the 49ers knew what they were doing, bringing him back against the Cardinals. Like, Brock Purdy last week was talking and said that he thought he was going to come back the previous week. I think the 49ers knew they were going to lose that game, and they were like, nope, we're bringing him back in a dome, because the Cardinals have a dome, in a dome where we can control the weather, where the Cardinals, I'm saying the 49ers won on special teams, defense, and offense. The Cardinals lost on special teams, defense, and offense. Like, every area of their game was horrible. I actually texted my dad and my friend. They invent new ways to be awful on every play, because it just, like, can you imagine being the owner of that team and you're like spending, millions, billions of dollars, and every single play is like a negative play. Every play was so bad for them. I know they did like score a couple touchdowns, but they were so bad that I like tuned out anything good they did, because I was like, this is, that Chris Paul meme where it's like he scores a 3 when he's down like 37. Brock Purdy had 3 touchdowns. He threw for 19 of 26 yards. So that's not like an amazing completion percentage, but it's okay. And threw for 200 yards. Cardinals, like I said, had 17 penalties, which is really why they lost the game. Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record with 47 completions. He had 47 out of his 57 throws. So he threw the shit out of the ball. Just for context, he had 47 completions and Brock had 19. So that's, almost triple, more than double the amount of completions Jacoby Brissett was. He was trying his best to keep him in the game. I would say Trey McBride was also given his best effort. Now, he did commit 2 penalties on the same drive, so that killed them. But he also had a couple touchdowns and did his best. But Jacoby Brissett had 47 out of 53 completions. He threw for 452 yards, which is insane. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. What a game. The 49ers are now 4-1 in their division, which is incredible. They have their next division game. Is their next division game? Yeah, they've already done the 2 with the Rams, just finished up their second one with the Cardinals. So week 18 against the Seahawks is going to be a really important game. The Panthers are in the NFC, so next week, Monday night, that's going to be a really important game. The Panthers also won today. I'm right about that, right? The Panthers won today and have randomly been good. I think do they have 6 wins or 7 wins now? Hold on, let me look at the Panthers schedule. Hello. I know that they're playing the 49ers next week, but who did they play today and what did they do? Hold on. Oh, okay. So it went overtime against the Falcons. Panthers did win. They had 30. There has to be a better way to figure this out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So the Panthers have 6 wins as well. Let me look at the playoff picture. I know that next week is going to be a really important game for the standings. And next week is an important game because it's my first time going to a game at actually Levi's. I know a lot of you guys know I travel a lot with my friend to away games, but I've never gone to a game at Levi's, and it's going to be my dad's birthday, not on Monday, on Saturday's technically his birthday, but we're going to have a dinner on Sunday, and then Monday we're going to a game together. So I'm very excited about that. When I was a little baby, I got to find the picture. My dad brought a 49ers baby blanket to the hospital, and I grew up. I have a 49ers blanket, the 49ers blanket on my couch at my dad's house. So that's what made me a 49ers fan. Is my dad really loved it, and his dad or his grandfather lived in South San Francisco and loved Joe Montana and the 49ers. And then my dad got into it with Steve Young. So let me look. Okay, the playoff picture right now, division leaders. The Rams just won today. They beat the Seahawks. Sam Darnold has been playing incredible all year, through 4 interceptions. So he had a shitty game. They almost won, even despite their 4 interceptions, but they did not win. So Rams are leading the division. Number 2 is the Rams have 8 wins, 2 losses. Number 2 in the division is the Eagles with 7 wins, 2 losses. Then 3, this is insane, the Bears? Okay. The Bears are number 3 in the division with 7 wins, 3 losses. Buccaneers. Now, some of these teams have already had their bye week and some of them haven't, so I think that also skews things. Buccaneers are number 4 in the division. They have 6 wins, 4 losses. I think they lost today, but had a competitive game. The wild card right now is the Seahawks are in the wild card hunt. They're number 5. The Lions are number 2 with 6 wins, 3 losses. And the Packers are number 7 in the wild card with 6 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie. Right below that is the 49ers with 7-4, 7 wins, 4 losses. And then right beside us is the Carolina Panthers with 6 wins, 5 losses. So, like I said, next week, going to be a huge, huge, huge game for if the 49ers can squeak in to the wild card slash playoff picture, and then also depending on how they play the Seahawks in week 18. Sometimes at week 18, they end up sitting their starters, and both teams kind of like if it's guaranteed that you're already going to get into the playoffs, a lot of times you'll give your starters a rest. But it seems like both Seattle and the 49ers, that game's going to be very meaningful to them. So they might both be going all out in week 18, which is kind of scary because neither of those teams are going to end up leading the division. So that means they're going to have to go all out in week 18 and then play a playoff game the very next week. So knock on wood that the 49ers get into the playoffs. It's kind of crazy that they're not in it. But I feel like the one thing that I'm holding on to hope for is, one, they have a very easy schedule or very easy is, some of these teams that we thought would be easy wins are competitive. For example, Carolina, I assumed going into the season would be an easy win. I still think they're going to win, Is that bad? I don't want to jinx it. I still think they're going to win. But it'll, they have to be competitive. They have to face the Bears, which are, like I said, in the division leaders. And then they have the bye week coming up too, which I think will kind of adjust some of these division leaders because some teams have already taken the bye week and some teams haven't. So that is giving some teams like one additional win. The 49ers just haven't played that game yet. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the playoffs because that was important. It's kind of crazy to me that they can be 4-1 in the division. How are they 4-1 in the division and not like in the wild card at the very least? I feel like this is kind of a competitive year in the NFL in the way that a lot of teams, like there's not like the really, really good teams, but also like among like every team is kind of mediocre, if that makes sense. Like the Bills are losing games, but they're also winning games, like to good and bad teams. Like there is no royal class of the NFL like there is sometimes. And I think that makes all the teams are a lot more competitive. So even though you're 4-1, which to me should mean that you're guaranteed to be in the playoffs, it's actually a lot more competitive this year. I want to talk more about this particular Arizona game, but I do feel like I should look at the comments because I have a bunch of them. Bye week isn't till week 14. I know. It's because the NFC is really competitive this season, more so than the AFC, which, by the way, I'm okay with that. I like back in the day, apparently the NFC, whoever won the NFC championship game was going to win the Super Bowl. My dad talks a lot about the 49ers, Dallas Cowboys NFC championship games. And then it was like whatever team came out of that was going to go win the Super Bowl because the NFC was just like way more dominant. And I feel like in the last like 5 years in my lifetime, it's been the opposite where the AFC team is to me like way better. If you look at the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, not this year, but like those teams have like the reputation of being kind of the top of the NFL and they're all in the AFC. So I kind of like that. I feel like the NFC is becoming more competitive. Like right now, I think the Lions are a super competitive team. Once again, they're in the wild card, but they are like play like a really good team. The Eagles, Matthew Stafford has been playing incredible in the Rams. 49er poker. Kittle had to stop himself from ranting about not having a bye yet. Yeah, it's hard. You don't want to have it too early because I feel like then you get really worn down. And if you don't win the division, then you're really worn down and going right into the playoffs. So from that aspect, I feel like it's better to have it later. But I feel like I think I've heard Kittle talk about this like on a Bussin' the Boys podcast before, and I think he would prefer to have it around like week 10. I think he might have said somewhere between like week 8 and week 12. Week 14 is pretty late in my opinion, because if you miss the playoffs, it's like I just had a bye week. I played 3 games and then the season's over. But if they can get into the playoffs, I think that could be to their advantage. So there is that. Let me look at the 49ers, not the Panthers, the 49ers schedule moving forward and do a little on the cuff prediction. 49ers schedule. Why it keeps trying to take me to the media center. Okay, we have the Panthers game. I think they're going to beat the Panthers. I feel like on Twitter, I was like seeing like Vish Kumaran, who I think is really smart, had a tweet being like, this is going to be a really important, tough game for the 49ers. And I was like, I'm sure it's going to be tough, but I think the 49ers are going to win. The Panthers? I don't know. Their defense is definitely struggling. The Browns will be a hard game because the Browns have a tough defense that has specifically given Brock Purdy a lot of trouble before, but the Browns offense is so horrific. I feel like they should win those 2 games. And then they have the bye week. Then they have Titans. I mean, you're going to win the Titans game. Let's be pessimistic and say they lose the Colts. Do you think that they're going to lose to the Bears? Like, I'm sure it's going to be a really tough game, but I think they could beat the Bears. And then even if they lose to the Seahawks, what's their record right now? It's 7, right? 7 and so 8, 9, 10, 11. If they have 11 wins, they're going to get into the playoffs, right? Am I stupid? I don't know. Browns, Browns down to starting Sanders, potentially, who was terrible. I did see that he was terrible. I don't know. That I feel bad because I feel like his reputation was kind of fucked with at the draft. But yeah, I did hear he played really horrible. He had 2 interceptions or something. Josina Anderson, I saw, tried to give him a little bump. She was like, he hasn't practiced with the starters. And it's like, okay. Did they start him because Dylan Gabriel is like injured, or are they just like, oh, we're really bad? Let me go up. I want to see. Okay. We need to win the next 3 with the Panthers, Browns, Titans. I could see that and get to 10. Like the only one on here, I mean, not if they lost. I can see them, and I'm more optimistic, so I could literally see them winning all 3 of these. They could, maybe it's more realistic to think that they go like 2-1 and they lose to either the Panthers or the Browns. But I just think the Browns offense is so putrid, and the 49ers really have found something. I'm going to go over some stats, but George Kittle played incredible today. Christian McCaffrey has been really great. Like, even if the 49ers defense is struggling, I think the offense will still be able to put up enough points to outscore the Browns. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't, well, who did Buffalo? I saw, was it the Chiefs today? No, Chiefs played the Broncos. It was the Tampa Bay, Buffalo and Tampa Bay. That game was like super, super high scoring. The 49ers don't really get, this is the most points that they've scored since 2023. Laughably, the last time that they scored over 40 points was 2023, also in Arizona, also against the Cardinals. So the Cardinals should want to not face the 49ers. But yeah, so all of that to say, like, I think they're beating the Browns because no matter how good the Browns defense is it really going to be able to stifle Brock Purdy to the point that the Browns offense cannot score them? Like, I'm sure it will stifle them, but I think it'll just be a low scoring game on like both sides of the field because the Browns defense is good and the 49ers offense isn't that good, but the Browns offense is also bad. So I think that they're going to kind of take care of themselves in the same way that I feel like the Cardinals kind of took care of themselves. Like the 49ers did what they needed to do, but a lot of today's game, in my opinion, was the Cardinals being the Cardinals. Like that wasn't necessarily the 49ers offense imposing themselves or the 49ers defense imposing themselves. That was the 49ers letting Arizona beat themselves and then them just doing what they needed to do, which is all you should, ask for. I actually thought that they should have started blowing them out a little bit sooner. I thought they kind of stuck around a little bit too long in those first 2 quarters. Like the first 5 minutes, I was like, the 49ers are going to score 100 points. But then there was like a little bit of fight in the second quarter. And then by the end of the second quarter, I felt like there were so many penalties on the Cardinals team that I was like, are they trying to get their coach fired by halftime? I would not be surprised if Jonathan Gannon was fired during this stream right now, which kind of sucks. Is I don't know if it's like his fault. I think the organization is just horrible. Like it seems like no matter what quarterback they have, they hire a new coach like every 2 years. It seems like they had Steve Wilkes. They had the guy, Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not saying he was good. Is he still the offensive coordinator for the Commanders? But yeah, I don't know. Do you think Jonathan Gannon deserves to be fired? They're definitely going to do something. I think it's very obvious that they're going to move on from Kyler Murray, which is interesting because Kyler Murray has an excellent talent, skill set, physically. His talk about his mobility, but he just cannot. His demeanor is awful. But then Jacoby Brissett went out there and played the game of his freaking life, setting NFL records, and it didn't matter at all. So I don't know. The whole team needs an overhaul, in my opinion. That it might come down to ownership. I feel like 2 years ago, those NFL report cards came out, and players talked about how the Cardinals charged them to like eat food at the facility, and like all their treatment centers were old, and like they just got F on everything. And to me, when your organization sucks that long, no matter the quarterback, like no matter who you draft, no matter who your coach is, year after year, it's horrible. It's like that's an ownership problem. The Cardinals, maybe the NFL needs to punish them and like demote them to like the USFL and be like, you can only come back to the NFL if you sell your team to a better owner. Because I think at that point it's like an ownership issue. I kind of feel that way with the Titans too. I don't know enough about the Titans because I don't watch them. They're not in our division. I feel like I like more aware of the Cardinals because they 49ers face them every year. But it seems similar, right? It's like, okay, you always have the first round pick. You're like getting new good coaches. Like look at Vrabel in New England right now. Like you have good coaches, and it doesn't matter like if they're on your team, they're gonna fail. So I don't know. But then you look at the Panthers, who have been horrible for forever, and they actually have some fight this year. So maybe it's just a matter of time. I don't know. I got kind of lost there. I wanted to go over some stats, but maybe I should finish this question. Why did I just go on the longest tangent ever? I'm so sorry. They need to get to 10 wins before tough final 3 games. Wouldn't be surprised if week 18 actually ends up being Sunday Night Football. Yeah, I mean, why would you not want to make that like a division game between 2 teams that are fighting for playoffs? The Colts will be a hard game. How are the Bears playing right now? I don't understand. The Bears are good, or are they mediocre? I don't know. And then that Seahawks game will definitely be interesting. It's interesting that Sam Darnold shit his pants today when he's been doing so good. Like, I feel like my dad was texting me last week, like, Sam Darnold's back. And then he just shit the bed today. Sometimes that happens to quarterbacks. Think about Jared Goff in the Super Bowl. It's like he was having like this MVP caliber year where he was executing everything, and then he just saw one defense that completely figured him out. But it's like, can other teams copy that? I don't know. Okay, I want to move off of this and go into some of the stats, I think. Bears are winning close games. 49ers should be able to beat them. Yeah. Badass. I did see when I was starting the stream, you had already asked a question, so I wanted to. Murray has time to go to baseball. As long as the 49ers defense don't stink it up. I mean, it's going to be hard on defense. There's lots of injuries. Like, at some point, Gabriel got hurt. Okay. I think Kyle needs to let Mac Jones be the starter against the Browns since they have the number on Purdy. They do have a number on Purdy, but I don't think they're going to switch back and forth between quarterbacks. I mean, like, if Brock got injured, they would definitely go back to Mac, but they're not going to, like, yo-yo them, you know? My prediction is the same from the start of the season, 11 or 12 win season. See, I'm always too optimistic. I think I had them at 12 or 13 wins, but I mean, that's not too far off, to be fair. Let me see. I saw Julie's name, but then I scrolled past it on accident. Hi, Julie. Love you. Okay. I'm trying to look for, Purdy had a good quarterback rating, first game back. Yes, I thought he did good. I don't think that the 49ers defense were the cause of the 17 penalties. I think the Cardinals are horrible. Like, I'm not saying they didn't cause any of them. They were definitely playing good. De'Amon Lenore had that interception. Malik Mustafa had that interception. Like, Upton Stout had a really good, like, goal line knockout fumble. They definitely played really well, but I'd put it like 50% on the 49ers defense doing well and 50% on the Cardinals, like, shooting themselves in the foot in a way that was really hard to watch. Hi, Jonathan. Oh, okay. Eddie Pinheiro. I was looking for your comment, badass, because I had saw when I was setting up the stream that you had already commented. So I will get into the injuries from the game. You were asking about Eddie Pinheiro. So Pinheiro has a pulled hamstring. They need to do more tests when they get home, and Kyle will call tomorrow at 3:30 and give the media, me, an update, and then I'll go live after that. But yeah, pulled hamstring. He did not finish the game. He was 3 for 3 on his field goals. He did miss I think 2 extra points actually. And then, like I said, didn't finish out the game. It was Thomas Morstead or whatever. I might be saying that wrong, but he was the one that actually finished out the game. So we got to cross our fingers for Eddie P. And it's also like, it's kind of risky where it's like the only thing that he needs is healthy legs. You know, like he can't like make up for it. Like if it's like a cornerback that's like, okay, you're a little hurt with your foot, but you can still jump and tackle with your arms or like whatever. It's a little different when you're kicking and it's like your kicking leg and you need that. Like there's no way to work around that. You can't. And Eddie's been so good for the 49ers. It's definitely a bummer. He's a little bit of an older player, but obviously he's been terrific for the 49ers this season. I wonder if they'll have tryouts or something this week, depending on what comes back. But even if it's like a grade 1, I think they're going to have to bring someone in at least for this week. Like even if it's a slight pull, they don't want to push it. So bring in someone maybe for the Panthers game if it's not bad, and then have Eddie come back for the previous game, or even sit out till the bye week, depending on how bad it is, would be my prediction. The one thing that's like giving me some hope is like the 49ers got Eddie Pinheiro off the couch. So if they could do that. And last year we saw with Jake Moody, the 49ers ended up going through like 3 different kickers because the kickers kept getting injured. And each one that they got off the couch was playing well. So hopefully if they need to bring someone in for Eddie, they can, play good for one game. And then if they start to suck, the 49ers can just switch them out until Eddie comes back. That's the one good thing about like not having Jake Moody. They drafted Jake Moody, so they had to like hold on to him and like try to make him work, where they're not loyal to any of these kickers. They're just guys off the couch, so they can just rotate them for whoever's playing the best, But obviously you're going off of who's available, and a lot of good kickers are already on NFL teams. So, I'm not saying it's not a problem at all. I'm just saying that I'm feeling more optimistic about it than, maybe some people in the chat. Other injuries, Upton Stout got a stinger in the game, but he returned. Robert Beal got a concussion, and then he did not return. Curtis Robinson, like I said, all the linebackers were just like rotating in and out. Curtis Robinson was tested for a concussion, but ended up being able to be cleared and go back in the game. Luke Gifford, the reason he was in the game was because Curtis Robinson was out getting tested for a concussion, but then he went down and also ended up getting tested for a concussion. Both Robinson and Luke Gifford got cleared, so that's good for them. Prayers up for Robert Beal, because concussions are scary. And then Tatum Bethune, another linebacker, just horrible luck on the linebacker situation for the 49ers. Tatum Bethune, it's a possible high ankle sprain. They know it's something with his ankle, but they're not 100% sure. So he's going to go through additional testing when he gets back tonight or tomorrow morning. And Kyle Shanahan will call and let us know the update. So most important 2 updates, I guess, that we have to look out for is going to be Eddie and Tatum Bethune. The other ones hopefully will continue to feel better since they were already cleared. And then Beal will just have to go through the concussion protocol. He'll probably be out next week, because usually it takes a little bit more than a week to go through that. Let me get into some, game balls. Diamond Lenore, I felt like had an excellent performance today. 1 interception, really did a good job in coverage. Now, once again, Cardinals don't have the best players, but, I felt like DMO had kind of struggled struggle is maybe a little bit harsh, but he gave up a touchdown last week. He's gotten caught a couple times, and today was a good bounce back day for him. He likes to, talk a lot, and I felt like he backed it up today. So that is positive, because you want to have your cornerback feeling confident. That is a position where I feel like you encourage some like delusional confidence. And then Malik Mustafa, who's been back for a couple of weeks now, he also got an interception. That was great to see. Christian McCaffrey, just an incredible game. He had 18 touches in this game alone. With those 18 touches, He had 183 yards, so that's a lot of yards for not a lot of touches. 121 yards. I'm looking at Kittle. And then 3 touchdowns for Christian McCaffrey. So that we love to see that from Christian McCaffrey. Then you go over to George Kittle, who I think is like in the record books as well. Let me see what I saved. I think he might have tied some of the 49er legends. But in the last 3 games, George Kittle has had 19 targets. I think he needs more than 19, by the way. I think he should have like 10 each game. But I know that's I was going to say I know that's not possible, but I don't know why that's not possible. If you look over at the Chiefs, Travis Kelce is getting that many touches or more per game. In my opinion, Kittle is just as good, if not better. But in the last 3 games, George Kittle has 19 targets for 19 catches, meaning he's caught every single ball that's came to him, and 3 touchdowns as well, and 183 yards. So just really, really great to have George Kittle back. Something that I felt like was kind of unstoppable from the Cardinals defense during this game was Kittle in the red zone on those dump off passes. It was like getting them right next to the goal line, and then Christian McCaffrey would kind of run it in. I loved to see that. If you go dating back to week 8, Kittle has caught his 21 targets, his last 21 targets. Wow. So George Kittle has not dropped a target. That's so interesting. All the way since week 8. He's had 21 targets, and he's caught all of them for 204 yards. That's very exciting. Hold on. And then, like I said, okay, George Kittle, tight end, 3rd player in 49ers history with 500 catches and 50 yards plus receiving. He's now tied with Jerry Rice. No. He's now right behind, because he's 3rd, Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. I mean, I think George Kittle is, is it, I was going to say Hall of Fame trajectory. Is that bad to say? Like, am I overstating it right now? I think George Kittle is like very clearly one of the best. Wait, Ashley, that's wishful thinking. What's wishful thinking? Him going into the Hall of Fame? Am I overstating it? Maybe I'm overstating it. Ricky Martin looks good. Are these comments a little bit behind? Who's Ricky Martin? Moody could be signed off the Bears practice squad. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, but like I said, I think game balls to Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. It's been great to have them. On defense to Demo and Mustafa. Special teams, that Sky Moore run to kick return to start the game really set the game up. Kittle getting more touches is wishful thinking. Yeah, I agree. I don't know why Kyle won't give him more touches. I don't know why Kyle doesn't. Like I said, even the dump off passes to him, like right in the red zone and then running it in is working. But why doesn't Kyle target him like in the end zone? That is something that they still do not do. Where Kittle has a really big, like wide body, that's a good target to throw to in the end zone because it's hard to like cover him because he's a bigger guy. And if he's already in the end zone, it's not like he has to run because I feel like the pushback to that would be that like he's not the fastest like wide receivers are faster than tight ends. But if you just put him right in the red zone or in the end zone, he doesn't have to go far and he's a big target. And like we've seen him before, he's not easily brought down and like you can't cover him. I don't know. I think that Kittle should have at least he has 19. Is it in the last 3 games? He has 19. I mean, give him 6 more targets and he has 10 per game. I don't think 6 more spread over 3 games is a lot. That's 2 more targets a game. Sorry. I'm passionate about how I feel George Kittle should be utilized and his being underutilized in my opinion throughout his career. I know they like to have him in blocking. The 49ers, how do we grade the 49ers offensive line? Last week was their best statistically if you look at like PFF and stuff, which some people agree, some people don't. But statistically, it was their best week was last week. I haven't looked at it yet this week, but I think Brock Purdy only took one sack all game. Now, part of that might be because much like the 49ers don't have a pass rush, it seemed like the Arizona Cardinals didn't have a huge threat pass rushing as well. But I thought the offensive line has held up pretty well. And that's probably also why Christian McCaffrey is having more success. Let me see. A lot of people are making a big deal out of Jonathan Gannon and Kyle Shanahan, both talking about like fan noise and the 49ers or the Cardinals having to go to a silent count on their home turf. Brock Purdy said that the play that settled him back in after missing 6 weeks was to hit that touchdown pass to Kittle. It was like, yeah, we're back. We're playing in an NFL game. I thought that was one of his best throws of the day. Like I said, he had some quote unquote ducks, I would say, where they floated. That one was not. That was like downfield to the that side of the field. And it was like, 3 feet before the end zone, and Kittle was just able to catch it like in stride and walk right in. Love that. Some other quotes, George Kittle on Brock Purdy. I think I've only said this about 2 quarterbacks, the other one being Jimmy Garoppolo. Brock's presence in the huddle is just elite, how he talks to his players, he plays with a lot of joy, and that's so infectious, and he has a good command of the huddle. Interesting to compare Brock Purdy to Jimmy G. I think the one thing that I notice is like there is kind of this divide within the team when you look at like Ricky Pearsall and some of the younger guys in the team. It feels like their year. They're developing a new team, a new core. Like they're not holding on to the past. Where if you talk to like George Kittle or if you talk to Kyle Juszczyk, it's a lot about like the 49er way and Jimmy Garoppolo and like getting back to where they were. Versus I kind of think that the 49ers need to let go of the past and like trying to get back to where they were. I think each year should be like, this is a brand new team and a brand new opportunity. Obviously the idea is to get back to the Super Bowl and win, but it's like, you don't want to be who you were in the past in 2023 or 2019 because you got to the Super Bowl and you didn't win. You want to have a new team. Juice's 200th game. That's very, very, very impressive. Very impressive for Juice. But I'm not downing either of these players. George Kittle is arguably my favorite player on the 49ers. I do notice that some of the older players mention a lot of the older players that aren't even on the team anymore and a lot of getting back, where the newer players, I feel like, bring a lot of energy and like excitement to this team this year now, and I'm kind of in the mode that we should be transitioning to starting a new team with a new core. We shouldn't be talking about cores on this team because I think that leaves the new rookies or the second year sophomore players feeling a little bit left out. Someone's talking about Nick Martin. Nick Martin played a couple snaps. He didn't play nearly as much as I feel like he should have if he was a good draft pick because, like I said, the 49ers went through 3 linebackers in this game alone, and you still didn't see a ton of play from him. He did like actually see the field finally, but I mean, if you are already on your second and third string linebackers, and then in that game you go down 3 more, and you still can barely touch the field, that doesn't signal that Robert Saleh has a lot of confidence in Nick Martin to me right now. And that sucks because Nick Martin was a 3rd-round pick, and they reached for him. If Nick Martin was like a 6th-round pick where he was supposed to go, the fact that he's not playing this year wouldn't really matter. But when you spend like a high draft pick on someone, you kind of expect that they should contribute at least something that year. So. 49ers Poker's making a great point that some of the reason that George Kittle doesn't get as many like touches in the passing game is that he has to block for Christian McCaffrey, and it's probably not coincidental. Like I was just talking about, hey, the offensive line has looked better the last 2 weeks. It's not coincidental that George Kittle has came back in the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks. How long has he been back? 4 or 5 weeks? And is starting, he himself is getting more into game shape, and he's helping a lot with the blocking. And that's opening up a lot for not only the quarterback, but for the running backs. And probably why Christian McCaffrey looked better today. We ran it good today. I agree. We ran it well today. I think part of that is Kittle. Part of that is a good the offensive line playing better. But part of that is the Arizona Cardinals not having a defense that, put up much of a fight. Brock Purdy really needs to stop throwing passes into double coverage, almost through. Yeah, I think there was 2 throws today that I felt like were almost interceptions that the broadcast made a pretty big deal about. But like I said, Arizona sucks, so neither of them were caught. I actually had a friend who asked me, hey, do you think Brock Purdy throws an interception this week? Because we kind of have a running joke that Brock throws about at least 1 interception every game. And I said, normally I would say yes, but I think the Cardinals are so bad that they're not going to catch it. And my friend said, he was like, no, I think Brock Purdy's going to throw one. And I stuck with no. I was like, I not that I don't think he'll give them the opportunity, but I don't think Arizona will capitalize. And I feel vindicated that I was right. That was before the game, by the way. I did not have any faith in the Cardinals. What do I rate the 49ers offensive performance today? Wow. Sorry, my chair, I just tried to lift up on it and the handle moved. They scored 41 points, right? It's hard to, they didn't turn the ball over. They almost did, but they didn't turn the ball over. Defense started a little slow, but for the majority of the game, the Cardinals had 10 points. I know that the 22 makes it sound more impressive than it was, but that last was a garbage touchdown where I feel like everyone was kind of checked out. I was surprised that the 49ers starters were even in for that last drive. So I really don't count that last touchdown. I literally had started writing my notes and stuff for the stream before that happened. So I would say A-. You can always say, I never want to give an A+. You can always not throw an almost interception. You can, not allow 20 points, but I think this was about as good of a game as possible. I guess the reason also for the minus is I do think if they had this same defensive performance, but going against any other team that was a little bit more competent on offense, I think a different team could have scored 30 to 35 on this defense. If that makes sense. Like I said, and same thing offensively, even at the very end, George Kittle ended up right before he caught his second interception. That was I think on their 3rd attempt. But the 2 attempts right before that, I was like, damn, Brock Purdy kind of threw it high over Juwan Jennings' head, which I think was him. Juwan Jennings was in the end zone, and I know Purdy didn't want to throw it to the left of him because there was a defender right there. So he threw it over to the right and above, but to me it needed to be 2 feet lower, and it still would have been out of reach of the defender. But how high up Brock Purdy threw it, it was impossible, even with Juwan Jennings jumping as high as he could to get it. So there was some rough patches that I think could still I don't want to give an A+ or even an A, because I think there's lots of room for improvement. I think that if Brock Purdy was feeling 100% and had a few less mistakes on offense, that the 49ers could have scored 50, and that if the defense was better, that they could have held the Cardinals to 10. So, Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record of completions. You can't give that defensive performance an A, right? Even though only allowing them to score, 22 points. And like I said, I think that last touchdown was kind of BS. They were checked out. So even if you think, hold on. I can't do math. I can't do 22 minus 7. Sorry. 15. So even if the Cardinals scored 15 if you don't count that last touchdown. I want to do it in sections. I think offensively, I want to give them an A-. It could have been even better, but it was really, really freaking good. Really freaking good. Like if you put up that offensive performance against most teams, you're going to play very well. So I give the offense an A-. I give special teams. They obviously started the game, on a high note, but they had some blunders as well. So maybe a B- on special teams or a C+. Is that too high of a bar? Because obviously the incredible kick return was great, but they had some. There was some. I texted my dad at one point and I said, "Is the 49ers special teams good?" And then directly after that, the 49ers had a special teams blunder and they had 2 in a row. So maybe B- for special teams, and I want to say B- for defense, because the defense played really great. They got, two interceptions is great, but they barely got to Jacoby Brissett. He set an NFL record of completions percentage, and was able to throw for almost 500 yards, which is insane. And I think B- is I think a B is a very good grade. Maybe should I do B? So if I have A- for offense, B- for special teams, and then B for defense, what is that? I feel so maybe a B+. I'll give this game a B+. It seems too low because they scored 41, so it seems like I'm a very harsh critic. What do you guys think? David Lombardi thinks that it was Brock Purdy who is the reason that they scored 41 points. I kind of disagree. Eric Gomez agrees B+. I think B+ is a really good grade, but then coming from someone who in school really tried to get A's a lot, I've had times where I've cried over a B grade, and so it makes me feel like that's not high enough. But I'm trying to be very complimentary and say that this game was great, while also saying they have room to be even better. And they played great, but against a really bad team, and against a good team, this performance would still be good, but it wouldn't look as good as it does. And so I'm trying to take in all the context. So I think I give this game a B+. But I don't know. Let me sleep on it, and tomorrow maybe I'll give them a B+ or A-. I'm around there. So yeah. Overall, we got good, great, Okay. B+ is fair. People are agreeing with that. I think I'm going to let this stream go here because I've been talking for an hour, but I love you guys so much. And this was an interesting game. I kind of predicted the 49ers would win and blow out the Cardinals, but what I'm interested in is how the standings end up playing out. I'm really excited for this Panthers game because it is going to have implications. And like 49ers Parker said in the chat later on, these next 3 games are really going to determine if the 49ers get into the playoffs or not. It's kind of interesting that they can be, top of their division and still fighting to even get on the wild card. But it's a very competitive year. All the teams are kind of in this, good but not great category. So there's a lot of fighting to get into the great. So let's see if the 49ers can get into the playoffs. You let me know. Am I too harsh of a grader? What would you grade this performance? I'm feeling regret right now. I give it an A-. I give it an A-. I don't want to be too harsh. So anyways, I really appreciate you guys. Please give me a like and give me a subscribe. It means a lot to me. I'll be going live tomorrow to give you guys the injury updates, and then on Tuesday with Tom Jensen from SI. And then I'm excited for like I said, if you're just tuning in now, my dad and I are going to my first game at Levi's, and my dad's a huge 49er fan. He's the reason I'm a fan. And we're going on Monday to, do a kind of late celebration of his birthday. So I'm very excited from that. And I will go live and take videos and stuff at the game. So don't worry about that. Tomorrow is, I don't know what that means. What is Geopotlics? Anyways, hope you have a great day tomorrow. I'm excited that it's a big day for you. I'm just hoping that it's not going to rain too much in the Bay Area. I know the rain is great for like the world. But I don't like to be wet. And I'm a big walker. I love to go for walks. I like to go for afternoon walks. I like to go for after dinner walks. I'm always loving to walk. And when it's raining, I hate being wet. And I've also, like I said, I'm a little bit sick. And I feel like I just always being a little bit damp is not helping with my sickness. But I'm going to take a really nice steamy shower tonight. So there we go. Anyways, love you guys and hope you have a great night. I'm actually going to end it now because I feel like I was going to end it 5 minutes ago. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you would rate this performance because that does really help my channel. I appreciate it. And send me any tips if you've been to games at Levi's. Tell me what the best food is there, where we should park. I was thinking about parking in the Whole Foods parking lot and then like walking over and looking at the tailgate stuff. I've been to Levi's like during games. I've just never been like as a fan. So anyway, love you guys. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Thanks. And I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget for the injury updates.